All right, let's just get right to it. If your everyday carry still feels like you've got a brick-riding shotgun in your waistband, it's high time for an upgrade. I'm talking about compact striker-fired pistols that actually make concealed carry a whole lot more bearable without cutting corners on firepower. There's a flood of striker-fired guns out there these days. But here's the deal. Not every compact is built the same. With 9mm prices still making us wish we'd bought into ammo like it was cattle futures, and more folks than ever lining up to get their carry permits, the need for no-nonsense, easy-to-hide pistols has shot clean through the roof. Whether you're gearing up for summertime carry or just need something that fits tighter than your gym shorts waistband, these compact workhorses get it done. We're talking about capacity, concealability, dependability, and yeah, whether it feels like you're lugging a cinder block around in your holster. So go ahead, smash that like button, drop a subscription, and holler at me in the comments about what you're packing these days. Don't just hang back in the shadows, I want to hear what you trust when it counts. Rolling in hot at number 10, we've got the Sig Sauer P320 Compact. And let me just tell you straight off, this thing's a chameleon. It's the modular striker-fired pistol that turned the whole game on its head and sent every other company scrambling to play catch-up. Let's start with the specs. The P320 Compact sports a 3.9-inch barrel and usually runs 15+1. It tips the scales at about 25 ounces unloaded, which gives it enough heft to soak up recoil without turning your waistband into a construction site. Sig's modular fire control unit lets you pop the guts out and drop them into different grip modules or even different sizes. That's flat-out wizardry, and I'm all in. The trigger's solid smooth break with a clean, audible reset. Not as light as a Canik, sure, but definitely cleaner than a stock Glock. The grip texture hits a nice middle ground, and the shape just fits most hands without fuss. Toss in that classic Sig ergonomics, and you've got a pistol that feels like it was carved right for your palm. I've run this thing through IDPA courses and carried it concealed. Not a single failure, not once. It eats hot loads like it's got something to prove. If you grab the RX version, you can slap a red dot on top, and it'll hold 0 even after a rough, muddy weekend on the range. The P320 Compact ain't just a pistol, it's a whole platform. If you like building your own setup with slides, frames, optics, the whole works, this thing's your sandbox. Some pistols feel like they were dreamed up by a boardroom full of folks who never fired a round in their life. Then there are those that feel like they were built by someone who knows exactly what it means to run a gun under pressure. The VP9 SK? That one sits squarely in the second camp. It's like that quiet guy at the range who drills bullseyes all afternoon, never says a word. Then you find out he's ex-Special Forces. Straight out of Germany, the VP9 SK is H&K's trimmed-down version of their full-size VP9. It's got a 3.39-inch barrel, feeds from either 10 or 13 round magazines, and comes in around 23 ounces. What it runs, though, is that slick striker-fired system with one of the finest out-of-the-box triggers in the game clean break. Short reset, consistent every time. None of that squishy, unpredictable nonsense. Just solid German engineering through and through. The grip texture. Designed by someone who's actually carried a pistol day in, day out. It locks in when you need it to, without chewing up your hand. I've packed the VP9 SK off and on for over a year now. It rides low, hides easy, and I trust it enough to carry when I know I won't get a second chance to make things right. Sure, you'll shell out a bit more for that H&K badge, but what you get in return is a piece of gear that feels like it'll still be humming along 20 years down the road. No drama, just pure reliability. The FN509 Compact is what you get when a full-blown duty pistol hits the gym, cuts the excess, and comes back lean, mean, and ready to carry. It's got all the grit of its full-size brother, just packed tighter for folks who want real-deal toughness without lugging around a brick. This striker-fired workhorse rolls out with a 3.7-inch barrel and tips the scale just under 25 ounces. It feeds off 10 or 15 round mags and comes optics ready straight from the box. And that's not just sales talk, the slide's cut deep and proper. Built to mount a red dot clean without any extra hardware or headaches. Now let's talk about the grip. It's rough in the best way. Think sandpaper that means business. Doesn't matter if your hands are soaked, freezing cold, or slick with sweat, that grip holds firm. When rounds are flying and your nerves are lit, that kind of consistency counts. Trigger's crisp enough for quick follow-ups, and the slide runs flat with hardly any muzzle rise. Every control is fully ambidextrous, and the whole setup just gives off that no-frills, all-function vibe. This ain't a pistol made for Instagram, it's made to run. FN's long-standing reputation for battle-tested reliability echoes loud and clear with this one. If toughness and shootability sit high on your list, the 509 Compact's got them both by the bucket. And some guns feel like they're trying to win a popularity contest. This one? It just clocks in, gets to work, and doesn't say a word about it. The TP9 Elite Subcompact shows up like a toolbox in pistol form and at a price that's got the big brands wiping sweat off their brows. It's got a 3.6-inch barrel, weighs in at around 24 ounces, and stows a dozen rounds in a flush-fit magazine. Every single one ships with an optics-ready slide, so if you're the red dot type, you don't have to wait or spend extra. It's good to go right out of the gate. You're also getting forward slide serrations, a loaded chamber indicator, and an undercut trigger guard that shows someone put real thought into this thing. But where this pistol really shines is that trigger. Straight from the factory, it's one of the slickest, cleanest brakes in the striker-fired world. The reset is short and firm, which means you can lay down follow-up shots fast and stay in control when the pace picks up. Grip ergonomics? They nailed it. It's not too slim, not too bulky, and the texture rides the line just right grippy without being abrasive. The bore axis is nice and low, and the weight sits where it ought to, keeping recoil in check and helping you stay locked on target even when you're moving fast. This is a pistol that checks every box: accurate, feature-packed, and reliable. And the kicker? It does it all without bleeding your wallet dry. The TP9 Elite SC is proof you don't need to throw down a fortune to pack something that shoots like it's punching in a heavier weight class. Every now and then, a pistol rolls onto the scene without fanfare or fireworks and flat out earns its stripes the old school way, by outshooting everything in its path. That's exactly what the Sig P10C has been doing since the first day it hit shelves. No slick ads, no gimmicks, just honest-to-God craftsmanship from a company that knows what a real fighting pistol should be. This compact striker-fired workhorse runs a 4.02-inch barrel, holds 15+1, and tips the scale at right around 26 ounces. Soon as you lay eyes on it, you know it ain't messing around. The grip angle feels more natural than most of its competitors, and the whole thing's so well contoured it feels like it was poured into your hand. The trigger's crisp, with hardly any take-up and a reset that competes with guns that cost a few $100s more. It's got those deep front and rear slide serrations, ambidextrous controls, and a slide to frame fit that's tighter than a ranch gate in a January wind. No rattle, no slop, just rock-solid build quality. Now, unless you spring for the O version, it doesn't come optics ready, but even so, the factory sights are bright and fast to line up. As for recoil and accuracy, the P10C runs like it's got a score to settle. Low bore axis, excellent frame design, it just settles back on target without a fuss. It's as reliable and rugged as anything out there, and trusted by folks who care more about performance than popularity. It might not be as famous as a Glock or a Sig, but anybody who's run one knows it's the real deal. It handles like a full-size, carries like a compact, and brings that old-world steelworker spirit into the modern striker-fired ring. Not the kind of pistol you should be sleeping on. Why? There's just something downright satisfying about squeezing off rounds with a pistol that fits your hand, like it was molded there from the get-go. That's exactly the feeling you get with the Walther PDP Compact. No fluff, no flash, just a modern striker-fired sidearm that shoots flatter than you'd ever expect it to. As for specs, it's running a 4-inch barrel and packs 15 rounds in the mag. It weighs in right around 25 ounces, putting it smack in that Goldilocks zone, not too heavy to carry all day, but still solid enough to soak up recoil like a champ. You get fully ambidextrous controls, sharp as a knife slide serrations, and a factory optics cut that's ready to go out of the box, no aftermarket tinkering required. Now, the real wizardry lies in the trigger. Walther calls it the performance duty trigger, and I'll be the first to tell you they ain't exaggerating. It breaks clean, resets quick, and has a smooth take-up that just begs you to run it fast. Match that with one of the best-feeling frames on the market, and you've got a sidearm that practically points itself. Accuracy? It's dialed in. The slide-to-frame fit is snug, the bore axis is low, and whether you're running irons or a red dot, those sights ride like they're on rails. Recoil's barely there, muzzle rise is predictable, and control stays locked in, even when the heat's on. This one's earned its fan base fair and square. It ain't just another polymer wonder gun, it's a purpose-built tool for folks who carry for real. And yeah, I'd take it over a Glock 19 any day of the week, and twice come Sunday. Grabbing hold of the M&P 9M 2.0 Compact gives you that gut-deep feeling, the kind that tells you this piece might be trouble, but not for the fella holding it. It's one of those rare guns that wears both a badge and a flannel shirt, duty ready and carry approved, like a barroom bouncer in a tailored suit. All business, but itching to throw down if it comes to it. Let's get into it. This striker-fired setup is running a 4-inch barrel, carries 15 in the mag, and tips the scale just shy of 25 ounces. The grip angle? Spot on. That palm swell fills your hand, like a firm handshake, secure, not bulky, and the texture hits that sweet middle ground. Grippy enough to hang on during a downpour or when you're gloved up, but it won't chew your skin off either. Now the real kicker is the trigger. Those first-generation M&P triggers worked, sure, but felt like trying to stir cold molasses with a plastic spoon. The M2.0 version cleaned that up proper. It breaks sharp, resets true, and holds up under pressure like it's got something to prove. It does come in a little heavier than some of its rivals, but that extra heft works in your favor. This ain't a pampered showpiece. It's built to get dirty, run hard, and keep kicking. You can feel it was put together by folks who know what it means to carry every day. It draws easy, points natural, and tames recoil without a fight. It's accurate, predictable, and fast on follow-ups. If you prefer a thumb safety, they've got you covered. And the aftermarket support is deep. You'll never be left wanting. There's a reason you'll spot this thing riding in duty holsters and inside waistbands from coast to coast. It's tough, trustworthy, and fine-tuned without being fussy. If you're after a striker-fired compact that just plain works every single time, this one's your huckleberry. No frills, no foolishness. Now, if you've stuck around this long, you already know we're not talking about safe queens or weekend toys. We're talking pistols that get used and earn their keep. But now we're stepping into the real deal heavyweights, the top 3. These are the sidearms that don't just get the job done, they take over the room. The ones that make seasoned folks grin and greenhorns feel like they just stepped into the big leagues. Whether you're carrying free and easy in big sky country or navigating the legal tightrope in less friendly places, these next 3 are built to ride or die. So cinch that belt, fellas. Things are about to heat up. Every now and then, a pistol hits the shelves and sends the rest of the pack into a full-on scramble. And that's exactly what happened when the Hellcat Pro came rolling out. Springfield took everything folks already loved about the original Hellcat and stretched it just enough to let it throw punches in the compact heavyweight league. You're looking at a 3.7-inch barrel, a 15+1 capacity, and a frame just barely wider than an inch. That's full-size firepower packed into a rig that disappears under a flannel or a light jacket. It ain't just trimmed down for the sake of looking sleek, it's engineered to haul all day and run fast when it counts. The grip texture on this thing? Outstanding. It's got that adaptive feel that clings tight to your mitt without tearing it up. Toss in a flat-faced trigger and a slide cut from the factory for optics, and you'll see plain as day, Springfield wasn't showing up to play. They came to win. Recoil stays well behaved, the sight picture's crisp, and mag swaps are slick and sure, all thanks to a frame that fits your hand like it ought to. The Hellcat Pro throws down hard, especially when you factor in just how trim it is. This ain't your budget blaster or some gimmicky show pony. This is a true working pistol, a serious everyday carry rig that walks the walk. Built for the long haul, tuned for the fight. Nothing flashy, just flat out business. If compact pistols had their own Mount Rushmore, the Glock 19 Gen 5 would already be chiseled into that granite maybe twice over. This thing ain't just well known, it's downright legendary. Whether you're a die-hard loyalist or the kind that rolls your eyes every time Glock gets brought up, you can't sidestep the fact. This pistol defined what it means to carry for dang near decades. The specs are tried and true. 4-inch barrel, 15-round magazines, and it tips the scales just under 24 ounces. Glock finally tossed those finger grooves, cleaned up the grip texture, added ambi slide stops, and tightened that trigger just enough to give it a cleaner snap while keeping that classic Glock break we've all come to expect. The G19 is boring in the same way a good old pickup truck is boring until the snow's blowing, the trail's washed out, or the job just has to get done. It'll eat any ammo you toss its way, and it's got more aftermarket gear than any pistol on earth. Optics-ready versions? Easy to find. Holsters? Name it, it fits. Might not be the most modern-feeling pistol, but when things go sideways, there's a reason Glock folks stay Glock folks. And just when you figured this one had the #1 spot in the bag, hold your horses. Because what's coming next ain't just a pistol. It's a straight-up concealed carry game changer. When this one hit the scene, it didn't just raise the bar, it embarrassed everything else on the shelf. Sig looked at the whole concealed carry market and pretty much said, "That's cute, now step aside." The P365 X Macro is not an evolution, it is a full-blown revolution. Let's lay it out. You get a 3.1-inch barrel tucked into a frame that somehow holds 17 rounds. Yeah, 17 in a gun this slim. It stays just over an inch wide and weighs around 21 ounces, which is bonkers when you realize that this thing carries like a subcompact but fights like a full size. Sig gave it all the right upgrades, factory compensator ports to keep the muzzle flat, an optics-ready slide that does not need extra plates or prayers, a flat-face trigger that breaks clean and resets with authority, accessory rail for your light or laser, and a grip module that finally gives you a full-hand purchase without adding bulk. Every feature here was tuned for real carry use, not the gun show table. On the range, it shoots stupid flat. Muzzle rise is minimal, follow-ups are fast, and recoil feels more like you were shooting a training pistol than a high-capacity carry gun. The balance is excellent, the control is instinctive, and the performance is elite. It does not just conceal well, it dominates when it is drawn. The P365 X Macro did not just raise the bar, it walked in, tore the old one off the wall, and melted it down into spare mags. This is the future of concealed carry, and right now, nothing else comes close. So there you have it. 15 compact, striker-fired pistols that are not just worthy of carry, but built for the real-world chaos that none of us schedule for. These are not safe queens or marketing fluff machines. These are tools, reliable, accurate, concealable, and proven by shooters who actually train, carry, and depend on their gear every day. Whether you lean toward the high-tech punch of the P365 X Macro, the rugged simplicity of a Gen 5 Glock, or the budget brawler confidence of something like the TP9 Elite SC, the mission stays the same. Carry something you can trust when everything goes sideways. Because let's be honest, when it all hits the fan, you will not be thinking about slide serrations or logo designs. You will be thinking about survival. We are lucky to live in a time where options like these exist, especially in a country where the Second Amendment still means something. But with that freedom comes responsibility. To train, to carry smart, and to choose gear that earns its keep. See you in the next.